Good morning, and thanks for listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kalvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Feel free to give us a call at any time, 612-504-8400. We'd love to visit with you and see where you're at in the planning process for retirement. Or visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. There's all kinds of retirement tools. There's a calendar of educational events as we do throughout the whole course of the year. Medicare Made Simple, investment classes, Social Security and tax, trust, wills, and legacy planning, a variety of all the different retirement subjects that affect you in retirement. And we're firm believers in the education process, as Kim and you and I talk about every single week.
Yeah, absolutely. This week we're talking about saving for college educations. And there might be some people out there who are thinking, why would we talk about that when we typically talk about retirement? But these are two coinciding situations. You know, you certainly, when you're young and maybe you want to start to save for your kids for their college education, but you cannot let that eat into your retirement savings for yourself. So what are the best strategies to keep them parallel but not crossing lines? And Kyle Thomas is with us, certified financial planner. And Kyle, you said you have two little ones, and you love this idea of a 529. Explain to everybody what that is.
Yeah, so a 529 is a plan for education savings that you can put into this account. You can invest it, grow it just like any other type of account. And you can get a tax deduction for it, depending on what state you're in. For Minnesota, if you're married filing jointly, you can get a $3,000 tax deduction for contributing to one. And then you can also, you get that tax deduction, but then when you take it out to fund tuition or room and board and books, all of that stuff, all that stuff that applies towards that education expense, it's completely tax-free to take it out. So it is a great benefit if you can attribute some assets to it. But there's a lot of other caveats that go into it, too, that create some flexibility for you and, some other pieces of information that you can actually create a little more benefit as well. And we can get into that.
Sure. Well, the first thing is early is better, right? You have said you have just little ones and you've already started.
Yeah, earlier the better, because those compounding returns really add up. And, we've talked about on previous different segments, the longer you have for time, the more you can make, because those later years in your time horizon is actually when you make the most money. Because let's say, 5% on $10,000 is a lot less than 5% on $100,000, right? So hopefully we could get to a larger number by the end of that, time horizon where they turn about 18 years old, and then you're making good return on that money. And that's why it's important to start very early on.
So what do these plans actually cover?
So they cover tuition. That's the big one. And then room and board, they cover books, they can cover laptops, internet access. You can get pretty creative with all of this, and it's very flexible. And it's not just college too. I mean, you can have this cover tuition for any kind of further education. If you wanted to go to cooking school, if you wanted to go to trade school, all of those things count towards 529 funding. So
can it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can it pay for tuition? Let's say if you decide that you're going to send your kids to private high school.
Yes, it can pay for private high school. There is caps on that. It's $10,000 per year can be used for that.
Okay.
Also of note, I was talking about that deduction. That deduction gets recaptured if you use it in those years. So it doesn't get recaptured if it's post high school. So, but yes, you can use it for private school, kindergarten through 12th grade. But again, now you're not allowing for as much compounding interest and gains inside of there, because now you're using it at a lower education level. So there's not as much time horizon built in.
Okay. So let's say that you set up for this 529 for your oldest child, and then your oldest child says, I don't want to go to college. Can you change it to a different child?
Yeah, you can change beneficiaries. So there's flexibility within that. So child A decides not to go to college, you can change the beneficiary to child B. Or there was some legislation passed a few years back that if the 529 is owned for 15 years, you can convert up to $35,000 over that child's lifetime to Roth IRA. So, but you are subject to that annual limit. Right now, the annual limit is $7,000. So you could convert $7,000 for 5 years to a Roth IRA for that child who decided not to go to college, which that's a huge impact as well, because now they're converting that savings to completely tax-free growth, and they wouldn't be taking it out until age 59 and a half. So think about the compounding returns incorporating that kind of time horizon as well. So and you can also change the beneficiary to yourself too. So you're not limited in who it has to be. It's not just children that you can change it to. So
okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you start your savings in the state of Minnesota and then you move to Florida, do the rules change?
No, the rules do not change. It's just contributions that can change. So depending on what state you're in, they can change and the tax deductions associated with them, because that deduction is only on the state side. It's not a federal deduction.
Okay.
So keep in mind everything associated with that. And then one other thing I want to point out here too is 529s owned by the parent are included on the FAFSA. So when you go to file the FAFSA, that those assets that your child is a beneficiary on, it's included. One way to get around that is to have the grandparents be a 529 owner. So if my children, if one of my parents or one of my wife's parents owned the 529, that's not going to be included on the FAFSA. And by the time that they turn 18, those assets could be significant if you're contributing every year and there's growth. That could be a huge impact that this college does not associate with your child.
Okay. But now, what if, heaven forbid, it's in someone else's name, someone else owns it, and then they pass away?
There are successor trustees for every one of these accounts. So typically, that would be if my dad had a 529 for my child, I would most likely be the successor trustee. So then, if anything happened to him, I would become the owner of the account, with whatever child was associated to that account still being the beneficiary.
Is that something you recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. You should 100% set up a successor trustee, just so things don't get murky. And I think a lot of the companies make you do that, which is awesome. They make the beneficiary system set up in case that happens, because they probably see it quite a bit. And it's important that someone else can watch over the assets.
Sure.
So,
Kyle,
Kim, if I may interrupt,
Sure.
You mentioned if somebody moved from Minnesota to Florida,
right.
why would anybody move from Minnesota to Florida? Any particular reasons, like taxes, weather, and a variety of other things? Okay, I guess maybe I get it now. Okay.
I didn't want to be the one to say, but
Believe me, we have many clients that are snowbirds to Florida,
Right,
so
sure.
I completely get it. But I think the
Absolutely.
takeaway here, Kim, with smart planning, a 529 can be more than just a college fund. It can be a powerful, flexible financial tool.
Yeah.
And we want folks to look at all the various tools. So having somebody that knows what they're talking about, a good partner that is working on your behalf, looking at all these different strategies and your family's financial goals and other goals, give us a call. Let's get started. Let's have a conversation. And that's really where it starts. And there
Sure.
is no cost to do it. Feel free, 612-504-8400, havenfinancialgroup.com. We have a very proprietary process. You get to know us. We get to know you. We talk through things. We're not in any rush. And we come up with some strategies, recommendations, suggestions. If you think we're a good fit, obviously we're looking to build long-term relationship and partnerships, and we work on your behalf. So we'd love to visit more.
I really feel like too, setting up one of these 529s is the perfect way for maybe a young couple to come in and get to know your team, Larry. Maybe they weren't quite ready to start, a portfolio for a retirement, but this is a great place to start with your team and then to continue a relationship.
Great place to start. And if you're a grandparent and you're
Right.
concerned about your grandkids, another great place to start. So there's a lot of good places to start, but the key is get started.
Absolutely. 612-504-8400. Tell them that you're ready to start today. When we come back, we're going to talk about universal life insurance for college and other expenses. You may never have thought about this strategy. Yet another one. Larry and Kyle are going to help us talk through exactly how this can be done. You're listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show.